Hi, I wanted to make an EFT video for everyone who's interested in deprogramming their mind and being free. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It is a energy-based therapy, and it's a very simple procedure, and it's a revolutionary idea from a guy named Gary Craig, who pioneered this therapy, and it's very simple to do. What I wanted to do a little bit was to show you how to do EFT. It's so easy that a 5-year-old could do it. And it's very simple. What you're going to do to start with is you need a problem, and I think most people can think of something, whether it's they hate their boss at work, or they just had a fight with their spouse, or they can't stop biting their nails, or they can't stop smoking, or they want to lose weight, or stop eating chocolate, or stop worrying about their bills. Whatever the myriad of problems that someone has in their life, it can be easily remedied with EFT. It can work on just about anything, even your pets. So the first thing you want to do is think of a problem. In this case, let's pick something random here. Let's say I'm getting ready to go on a date, and I'm nervous. I think the girl's pretty, and maybe all kinds of thoughts tumble through your head when you have a problem. It's not just one thought that's going on in the subconscious. We call it the subconscious, which is just a little motor running in the back of your head constantly, putting out these thoughts out into the universe, which really block your progress. But let's say you're getting ready to go out on a date. And what you want to do is try and be as specific as possible with EFT. You don't want to be too general. For instance, you start with a phrase, which is, even though I'm nervous about going on this date, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. It's stating the problem, and then there's an affirmation after it. What that's kind of doing is you're acknowledging there is a problem, which is the first step to actually getting rid of a problem, and then you're calling on your higher spirit to aid you and guide you in that process. It's a little bit of an abstract idea, but it works. I'm just going to open my sexy chest here and show you what you want to do to find this spot is locate your collarbone, the edge of your collarbone points here, which is basically those there's a little V right here at the bottom of your neck that kind of goes up, and then you feel these collarbone points at the end. And then what you're going to do is you're going to draw kind of a line, I'd say probably about 3 centimeters down at an angle, and then you're going to start feeling around. And it doesn't have to be exact, it's different for everybody, but you're going to feel around in that area until you find a spot that's sensitive and sore, or tender. And it doesn't have to hurt, but sometimes it might hurt. For me particularly, it's about right there. It's about right there where it starts to get really tender. So what you're going to do, instead of tapping on this point, a little bit more effective way to start is to apply pressure on this sore spot and rub it while you say, even though I'm nervous about going on this date, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. You're going to rub that vigorously. Not so hard that you hurt yourself, but hard enough so that you can really feel that tender and sore pressure. Place about as much pressure on it as you would, kneading some dough or something if you're making bread. Pretty firmly. And you can say that 2 more times. Even though I'm nervous about going on this date, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm nervous about going on this date, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. That's 3 times. So that's your setup phrase. This is kind of where you want to get creative, because what you're going to do is you're going to tap on certain points all over your body, and on each point you're going to tap about 7 times, and in the length of that tapping you want to say the phrase. Basically, I'll give you an example. I'm nervous about going on this date. Tapping on the top of your head, that's the first spot. And you don't have to go in order, but this is the order I like to go in. I'm nervous about going on this date. That's the first point. Then there's a point on the end of your eyebrow here. I'm nervous about going on this date. Then there's a point on the side of the eye on the bone, which you can feel sort of the bone here, and you tap on that. I'm nervous about going on this date. Now you're saying, I'm nervous about going on this date. That's about the length of 7 taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm nervous about going on this date. That's about 7. That's playing. Now, if you have a longer phrase, what you want to do is modify it so that it's shortened. That's where you have to get a little bit creative. You're going to tap under the eye. There's a right on the bone there. Right on the bone. You can tap. I'm nervous about going on this date. 7 times. Then under the nose, right there in a little groove. I'm nervous about going on this date. Then basically above the chin and under the lip, the bottom lip. There's a little groove in here. You're going to tap there. I'm nervous about going on this date. Then you're going to find that same collarbone point that I pointed out earlier. You're going to sometimes, I like sometimes to tap with both on both sides, but you can tap on one. It's perfectly fine. Doesn't matter if you tap on one or the other or both. I'm nervous about going on this date. Then there's a point under the arm at about the nipple level here, under your armpit. You're going to tap there. I'm nervous about going on this date. And then you're going to come to your hand. You're going to take your thumb, and basically it's facing outward on the end of your thumb. Not inside the thumb, but out on the end of the thumb. You're going to tap on the side of it. I'm nervous about going on this date. Then on the end of the index finger. I'm nervous about going on this date. And then the end of the middle finger. I'm nervous about going on this date. And then the end of the pinky. You're going to skip the ring finger and go to the pinky. I'm nervous about going on this date. And then you're going to finish with the karate chop point. I'm nervous about going on this date. Call it karate chop because you chop like Karate Kid. And that's one round of tapping. Now what that's done is basically some problems might go away immediately. Some problems you may need to do another round of tapping. And what I like to do is, and I skipped this step, I should have said this first, is what you want to kind of do depending on the problem. Let's say you're nervous about going on this date. Before you even tap, you want to check in with yourself and notice how you feel on a scale of 1 to 10. How much is this bothering you? And what that scale does is it gives you a barometer for the progress that you're making. Or what that scale does is it gives you a guideline for if you're making progress or not. So let's say your anxiety level was a 10, and then you do the round of tapping, with the whole setup phrase that I just talked about, and then you sort of take a deep breath. I like to take a sip of water, actually because your brain is doing a lot of work here, and you want to stay hydrated. And then you check in with yourself and you see, is it still a 10? Do you still feel a 10 level anxiety? Generally it comes down. I find it usually comes down to about a 7 or 6. And if it's still there, even if it's a 7 or 6, it's still there, and you want to basically do another round. So you do exactly the same thing. Find your sore spot, but this time you're going to say, even though I'm still, you're going to modify it with still. Rub the sore spot and say, even though I'm still nervous about going on this date, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. 3 times, just like before. And then you're going to tap on the same points, but this time you're going to say, this is where you can get creative. I like to say, and generally people say, remaining nervousness. You can say remaining nervousness. You can say, I'm still nervous about this date. You can say, remaining problem. It doesn't matter. You can modify it. It's best to be specific, but you can still modify it to your liking. So you go through the whole round of tapping again, but this time you're modifying it by saying remaining problem. I'm still nervous about going on this date. And then again, take a deep breath, check in with yourself, and see how far it's gone down. Until it gets to 0, until you don't feel any way about it. Now what I tend to find is problems will have more than one aspect to it. Your nervousness about going on a date with somebody could include maybe you don't have enough money to go on the date, and you think the girl's pretty and she might not like you. You're nervous about sex. You think you have to get her in bed. You're nervous about what your mother might think of her. Your mind's flash forward to your wedding day. You're already picking out wedding, doing wedding invitations with this girl in your mind. You could be nervous about people seeing you out with this person. So that's 5 or 6 different aspects I just named for one problem. So we just did one round of we just did one aspect, which is the initial nervousness about going on a date, and that's not really all that specific. What you want to do is get as specific as possible. You'll start to probably think of other phrases. The phrases are what's important. You'll start to think of other phrases, and you'll find other things that you need to tap on. You might find 6 or 7 different phrases for one problem, and you need to tap on all those in order to eliminate that problem. You think she's too pretty, and she won't like you because pretty girls are hard to please or something like that. You want to say, for instance, this is not exact, but this is kind of going to give you a guideline as to what to do. Even though I think this girl is too pretty for me, that's a good short phrase, and it kind of succinctly gets right to the problem. Even though I think this girl's too pretty for me, I deeply, completely love and accept myself. Then you're going to do that whole thing, and you may not be able to do a 1 to 10 scale on these. On another aspect, you might not feel intense about it, but that's okay. EFT is wonderful because it's dealing with the abstract. You don't have to feel what's going on in order to get rid of it. So you do that whole other round on that other aspect, and then you keep going, and you have to exhaust every single thing you can think of if you really want to be free of this problem. And even think of things that you may not even think are right. Just think of something random. I'm afraid that I'll get in a car accident on the way there. It doesn't hurt to tap on that. It literally takes it could take less than a minute to do one round. That's one phase of EFT. That's basically an introduction to how to do it. I suggest practicing it. I suggest doing it all the time on anything you can think of. I've done thousands of rounds of EFT. In 1 month, I did 3,000 rounds. I basically did 100 rounds a day because the mind is like a computer. And if you imagine starting up a computer, imagine seeing, thousands of little icons on the desktop. You can't even see anything. You can't function. And that's really how people are. I mean, they have so many problems, so many subconscious blocks that they don't even realize it. And it's controlling what's happening to them. If you look around your world and your life and what's going on around you, it's all a result of your subconscious. You're attracting things, you're repelling things, you're reacting based on programming, and programming is not of you, it's not yours, it's someone else's. You can be programmed by your parents, by the television, especially the television, your teachers, your friends, the news, society at large. You may even have programming that was there before you were born. I believe in past lives, and that stuff stays there. It's a lot of work, but if you just want to start out, it took me a couple of years to really, when I started doing EFT, it took me a couple of years to really get to a point where I started tapping like more, and I started realizing how far you could take it rather than, oh, I'm just nervous about this date. You know what I mean? When I did 3,000 rounds of tapping in that 1 month, my life totally changed in that 1 month. Totally changed. Like I'd been looking for a job for 4 months, couldn't find a job. I was doing 3,000 rounds of tapping. I found a job in that month, working more hours than I had worked in a long time, making more money than I had made in a long time. I started making a documentary that I've been trying to make for years, and I got the financing for it. Someone basically paid for all the equipment. My outlook changed, and my whole world totally changed because I was tapping on just about everything. So if you fix your subconscious, if you deprogram yourself, you become balanced, you become centered, and you're able to do what you're here to do. Because I think we're put here for a reason. Some people believe in God, some people may believe in sort of just the universe. It doesn't matter what you call it. Even if you don't believe in any of those things, try EFT, and I'll guarantee you that it works. And the only thing you should believe in is hard evidence. You know what I mean? And that's hard evidence. So get started with that. Leave any comments. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I'll be posting some more videos here, a little bit more advanced things for people who really want to get their lives out of, a place that they may not want it to be. So anyway, this is Farrell, and I'm just happy to have you here. and I'll talk to you soon.